back. I'm here with Cam Taylor, and it's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
And Cam, you are a leadership coach. You also do a lot of transition work. So you work both within the church place and also in the secular field, in the marketplace.
I do, and I enjoy the whole world.
Yeah, and you've done speaking, and also now recently you've written a book called Detour. I love the title.
Well, I'm looking forward to telling you more about that story.
Okay, well, let's jump right into it. What took place and what provoked the writing of this book, Detour?
Well, this book came about because of a very sunny day in April of 2011 when my wife and we got our motorcycle out, put the plates on it, went for a wonderful ride that was supposed to be uneventful. But unfortunately, on the way to our destination, a car pulled out right in front of us, and we hit the car. I had to lay the bike down, and that started a very long journey of recovery. I almost died at the accident.
Really? Were you airlifted actually?
We were airlifted, both of us, right off the highway back to a hospital in the Vancouver area, and that's when they started to put us back together again.
Wow, so life just totally took a turn because you're going out on a nice afternoon and you're planning on just going for a bike ride with your wife. So talk to us about the series of events that happened afterwards, and it was a long road to recovery for you.
It was, and I use this analogy of a detour because, you know, this road ended the road I was on, and when I woke up 2 days later in the ICU, looking at my kids and wondering what in the world just happened to me, I started to think, you know what, this isn't going to be too long. I'm an optimist. I'll be back on my feet, maybe 3 or 4 months. But that went along, and then 4 months later I had my 4th surgery, and that's when I really hit the skids, and it got worse. So.
What do you think when you're lying in bed? So at first you're optimistic, and now you're going month by month, and you're lying there and you're waiting. What starts to happen internally inside of you? Are you angry? Are you contemplative? Or what's going on?
Well, I would say that I would describe it very similar to any kind of a loss that a person experiences. Now, granted, I have a whole lot more perspective several years later and after writing and processing, but at the time, it's like you're going through any kind of a grief process, any kind of a loss where you're in complete shock when it happens. And you get completely angry and ticked off, like, why did this happen? Why did this guy pull out in front of me? So if you think about grief, that's exactly what I was going through.
So what was that purpose for you that you found?
Well, for me, and it took a while to get to it because I had a very strong purpose before the accident. My work was going well. I was physically fit. I had run 6 marathons. I was training for Boston. I was on track to live out my purpose. And then after the accident happened, and a lot of my purpose had to do with what I was doing and where I was going and my mobility, right?
And now you're not doing too much.
And now, so 4 months later, I'm back on my recliner in my living room with an uncertain time frame, and my purpose at that point was like shattered. And I said a prayer, said, okay, God, you have to give me a reason to get up in the morning because I don't have one. And so what happened was my purpose was morphed into a purpose that I could live out sitting for 7,000 hours on a recliner. And I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, God gave me things to do, ways to think, people to help, activities to sink my teeth into from a recliner that gave me purpose.
Tell us just a few of what those things were that you did.
Well, one of the things I started doing was writing. I took writing courses. I actually started to learn how to publish books. I wrote and published all the layout. I had to learn all that stuff. So I read books and I took workshops online and I just studied all day long, every day, between physio and surgeries, of course. I was learning how to write. But I also saw my mission was to encourage anybody who walked into my life, whether it was someone to come and give me a bath or cut the carrots or someone I met down at the CAS clinic or my surgeons or the nurses. I just wanted to shine a light and be encouraging to other people. So I really put the focus outward.
So now 7 years later, how has that experience shaped specifically the way you think and what you're doing today?
Well, one very significant thing is I relate to a whole bigger, broader group of people. My empathy muscle has been incredibly strengthened through my own suffering, through my own loss, my difficulty. I look at people differently. When I hear of a loss that somebody has, I get emotional and I start to tear up and I think, wow, I feel the pain of others. So that opens doors. And I think it helps me in my coaching and in my training, my work with
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah.
It helps me to kind of feel the humanness of our society. There's so much brokenness. There's so much loss, so much trauma going on in our world that it really has given me a whole new place to stand and to help people from. And that's really what I created in this book, was a pathway to get through what you're going through.
Thank you so much for joining us, Cam.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to tell you, all our viewers, that Cam's book, Detour, is available on our website. Just go to findtheway.tv and you can access your free copy there, but only for a limited amount of time.